Hi everyone and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be talking about a very interesting feature of JavaScript, and that is destructuring. So destructuring is a way to extract elements of an array or properties of an object into individual variables. You can see it as breaking down things from a bigger container and spreading it out into smaller containers, and that allows you to use them independently. So let's go ahead and see an example. So before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the notification button to know every time I upload a new content. So let's see something like this. Go let person. Let person, and we have full name. Full name. Okay, let's use John Doe like we did in the last class. And we have age, also 25. We go down and do, let's say, gender. Gender, and that is male, right? So normally we would have to use the dot notation or the array member accessor to use any of these properties, right? Full name. To use any of these properties, something like this. We can say console.log person dot full name, right? And to use the array member accessor, we can simply do like this. We control D. Use the array member accessor, so we can do something like this and to print out age. Age. So there you have it. Yeah, okay, let's just print gender also. Gender will save. Come down here and run the code. We see node destructuring. Log is not defined. Oh. Sorry, this place is dark. I'm just trying to look at the keyboard. I can't really see it. There's no light here. So we go ahead and do something like this. Okay, we see John Doe, we see 25 and male. Now this works fine, you understand? But we have to repeat the same process over and over again using person every single time we want to use an object, use any property of the object. And this is not very cool. It's not intuitive. In programming, one of the basic principle is called keys. Keep it simple and stupid. You can ignore the stupid part, but keep it simple. Okay, so that is why destructuring was introduced in ES6. So destructuring has not been with JavaScript right from the beginning. So it was introduced during the 2015 update to the language, and that 2015 update was a very big one. So it is usually called ES 2015 or the popular name ES6. Now let's try to destructure our objects and see how it goes. So to do it is very simple. We go let's and let's do full name. We separate it with comma, age, a comma, gender. We come out here and assign it to person, and that's it. So we say, okay, let's come down here and I'll do console.log console.log full name, age, and we also do console.log gender. So let's save and run our code, and we see it works just fine. John 25, John Doe 25, and male. So right now we no longer have to use the person object and the dot notation. We can simply call the properties like variables. Okay, so we can also use another syntax like this. Okay, let me comment out this. Okay, let me create another object from scratch. Let's just create another object so that we can see how everything works. So we do let student equals parentheses, and inside the parentheses we use our curly braces. Let's come inside it and do id comma, go down and do student's name, and let's add a third property to it and say age. Right, then we come down here at the very end of the curly brace, we put the equal sign and create our object this time around. So inside our objects we do id 1, we go down, say student's name, let's say Isabel, and age is 19. So that's it. When we simply come down here now and do console.log, we do id I really can't see the keyboard. I'm just trying to. We do id student's name, right? And of course we do age. So we save, come down here and run the code. And what do we get? We get 1, we get Isabel and 19. Okay, so instead of us to come out here and assign the value here like this, we can simply create them together inside the same parentheses with the object. So by doing that, we've destructured all the properties inside the subject to those variables. So let's save. Now there is something I want to show you. Let's go ahead and comment out student's name inside our destructuring, the variable here. Okay, so let's save and run our code and see what happens this time around. So you see, we get an error. And what does it say? It says student's name is not defined. Okay, so when we console.log student's name outside here, because we did not use the person dot student's name, it's not available outside here in this scope. So to access it, we actually need to either use the person dot student's name, which is the way we normally use properties from objects, or we can simply destructure it into the student's name variable. So being that we did not destructure it into the student name variable, we get student name is not defined. So our JavaScript is trying to print student name to the terminal, but it can't find it. Although it is inside the object, but it can't find it outside here because we haven't assigned it to a variable here. So when we go ahead and remove the comments and we save, we see that it works again, because this time around, when JavaScript tries to print out student name to the terminal, it can find it inside this variable here. So what if we comment out a property inside the object, but we try to use it outside? Let's do it for age. You can also do it for student's name, any of the properties you want, right? So let's save, come down here, and what do we get? We get undefined. Okay, undefined. And why is it undefined? So inside the object, there is no age. Okay, but we have the variable defined. So when JavaScript try to print out the value of age, and it can't find anything assigned to it because we did not create age inside the object. So JavaScript simply prints out the default value it gives every object, every variable rather, not object. The default value it gives every variable. So that default value is undefined. And because there is no age inside the object, but we have age inside our destructuring, so we were able to get undefined out here. Right. So please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really makes me happy. Now let's see how we can destructure arrays. Okay. Destructuring doesn't just work on only objects. We can destructure arrays too. So let's see something like this. Let me say cities, because I have cities inside that array from the previous class. Let cities equals let's say this equals London. And what other city? Let's use Lagos. And what other city? Let's add one more city. Let's say Tokyo. Right? Now to destructure it is also simple, like we did with the object. All we just have to do is say let, and inside it we can simply use let's say A, comma B, comma C. We come outside here and assign it to cities, right? So what happens now? All the elements inside the array has been given to these variables here. So when we go ahead and do console.log A, console.log B, and save, run it, you can see London, Lagos, Tokyo. So this really makes it easy. This really makes it easy for us to do. And what can we also do? Yeah, destructuring can also be used to swap the values of two or more variables, you understand? And this is something I haven't talked about when we were talking about, I did not talk about when we were discussing variables. So let's assume you have variables like this. Now let's reassign those variables to let's reassign those variables out here. So we simply say we are reassigning it now. We simply say A equals how, b equals that this happens because we can reassign variables declared using let. We can reassign them, and that's why I've been using let. If we use const, we won't be able to reassign it. So we say how c equals u, right? That's it. Let's just copy this console.log abc. So in your programming journey, you are going to be doing some copy and paste, but remember, like I told you last time, don't make it the only way you solve problem. Okay, you need to be hard coding things yourself. So now let's save. What do we get out down here? We get how are you? Okay, we get how are you. So to swap our variables now, we can simply do something like this, and we say a comma b comma c come out here equals. It depends on how you want to swap them. So now I want to swap the value of a with c, the value of b with a, and the value of c with b. So I'll simply come here and do c comma a comma b, right? So we've switched their values. Now when we come down here again and Ctrl V and save, what do we get? We see how are you, how are. Okay, we've swapped the values inside the variables this time around. So lastly, let's talk about how we can use default values with destructuring, right? So to use default value with destructuring, let's go back to the objects we created earlier. Yeah. Okay, let's come here and do something like this and say full name equals let's say full name equals Sam Josh, right? Sam Josh, and we save. So when we run our code now, what do we expect to see? Let me comment out every other thing here. So we comment out every other thing here, and we save our code, come down here and run it. What do we get? We get John Doe 25 and male, right? Good. Now if we come down here and we go up here rather, and we remove John Doe. Let's comment out all these three because they will throw error later when I remove full name. So let's go in here and comment out full name. So we do not have full name inside our object. Now when we come outside here and try to print, so what do we get? Instead of John Doe, we get Sam Josh because we've set full name to Sam Josh as a default value. Now Sam Josh will only be used if there is no full name inside our object person. Okay, Sam Josh will only be used if there is no full name inside if there is no full name inside the object person. And to see the object itself, you can simply do like this, console.log person. So we save, come down here and run the code. So we only get age and gender because there is no full name there, but we can still make use of full name because we set it as a default value inside our destructuring. All right, everyone, we have come to the end of this video, and remember to always practice. Like, I can't stress it enough. The only way to become a programmer that is a level above others is to try out things that others do not try. Okay, and when I'm talking about practicing, I'm not telling you to build things, build a huge project. No, just try to mess around with all these things we've been talking about: loops, array methods, string methods, type coercion. Mess around with them, and even this destructuring. There is so much fun you can have with destructuring, right? Please, once again, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next lecture.